This is it.
Okay. I have to think. Huh? Yeah, maybe.
Okay, we are starting our first scattering session at the moment. It's Lena Hesse who is showing her book Trespassing. And Lena, here it's.
Okay. Okay, I have written this book of short stories, which are actually connected by their geographical setting. They play at the Bijlmer in Amsterdam, and also through their title, the Trespassing, which actually I'm going to read a story later, because this work is not, well, it is a little bit visual also because of these postcards. I'm going to talk about them later, but it's a text, so I think it's also nice to hear something of it and not just see the book. The stories, like the one I'm going to read, is literally connected to this word trespassing, and also in a legal or illegal way, but some other stories talk in a more wide sense about this idea of territory, maybe, but not just geographically, but can also be, for example, emotionally or more on a more personal level. I have these postcards with them that initially didn't go with the book. At the beginning, I didn't put them together with the book. It was more the other way around. They were part of a video installation, and why they're connected to the book is because on the back there's sections of the text from the short stories, and in the video installation I made a different intervention in a wasteland area, also in the Bijlmer area. So it's not exactly the same space than the space in the stories, but yet it's somehow connected. And also the idea of what happens in the actions are maybe similar observations or ideas about artifact and nature and how we move in a space. And that's actually why they're connected. So I'm going to read one of the stories for you. Lost buoyancy. My right foot stepped out of the metro even before I had decided for it to happen. The final decision wasn't made until I sensed the movement, and for fear that my left leg could get stuck between the rapidly closing doors, I reeled it in. Pfft. The doors snapped shut behind me and the train left. I'd wanted to get out of the station many times before, only to take a closer look at this white houseboat which lay under the bridge. From the station, I could already see it a little better than through the pale metro window, and I squinted my eyes to catch some more details of it, new things. I had never detected any human life on the boat. Each time that I had passed it, it had been the same. My new perspective didn't seem to change this fact. Everything stood still. The boat was almost as long as the bridge was wide, and the sun could touch it at most for a short instant each day. From the west, and when it hung extremely low. I had never witnessed it. For me, it existed only in the shade. Yet I wanted to believe that it caught light at least sometimes. Impossible that people had decided to place their home at this exact spot, especially because cars ran over the bridge constantly, and it was constructed very low above its roof. If hell existed, living here was how it had to be. After I left the station, I suddenly was very close to the boat. The white paint looked old and dirty. Everything was white, and at the same time not anymore. The 3 white goose sculptures, the white plastic table with its 4 white plastic chairs, the empty white flower pot in the corner of the loggia. I tried to imagine a big palm tree inside of it. Together with its sunless position under the bridge, this soiled color was just a proof of what I had assumed already. Nobody had been living on the boat for a long time. I was sure of that now, because in any other case, there would have been whiter spots somewhere in between. Intents of some cleaning action. Isn't this what we people do to announce our presence, to claim something ours? We clean away the wildness of nature and then we paint the whole thing white. And from that moment on, we would clean it regularly. Just then we can call a place home. Therefore, this whiff of dirt erased every possibility of human presence. Nature had taken over with a silent but determined mark. I looked at the solid ground on which I was standing, and then back again at the boat to detect if it got seesawn at least a little by the water. But its size and weight seemed not to allow it to. It rather hung heavily and deep inside the river, ignoring the current and all the other vibrations. Although it wasn't sinking, its sad aspect filled the place with a similar dramatic atmosphere. The boat seemed to have lost its buoyancy in every meaning. Only in the physical sense it was still there, like it wanted to hold on to something. It just floated on the water, like a brain-dead body would lie on a bed, left without any sense of its existence, yet a maintaining appearance. For about a minute, when no cars dashed above me, it was almost peaceful, and I just stood there and watched what I had seen already. From the corner of my eye, I saw a car driving slowly under the bridge and towards me. When it got closer, I saw that it was the police. I smiled at them, which always makes me feel more innocent. Also, if I'm not guilty of anything. I hate doing that, but I somehow can't control it. They stopped next to me, and a policewoman looked through the ajar window. "Do you live here?" she asked me. Hell no. I stopped smiling only by imagining it. "What are you doing here then?" "The same like you, I guess, checking out the area." "For whom?" "For me." She turned to her colleague, who had just shut off the engine of the car. Then she looked back at me with a repining expression on her face. Why do they constantly search for drama? I hadn't touched anything, neither set foot on the property. Only my vision had entered. These kind of people you'll find everywhere, always there where you really don't need them. When you simply stand somewhere looking around and without traveling from A to B, you get suspicious automatically. Luckily, I don't pay taxes, I thought. Such things I'm not ready to support financially. In police language, this behavior is called constant public presence. I doubt that it avoids the real crimes. It just makes us paranoid, which certainly is a much bigger violation. The most disturbing thing is that all of them, no matter where you go, they observe, interrogate, move in the same way, never off duty. People who act like machines also get to look like some, my ex-boyfriend said to me once. Yet they're not as efficient. There's something in between. Eventually, these kind of people are the ones that get replaced by the real machines, you know? They become useless. They wouldn't understand my motivation for being here, so why bother explaining? I thought of telling them a story of violence about the boat and the people that had lived here once, only to feed them with a drama, to give them some of their satisfaction. However, I didn't feel like chatting with them anymore, so I kept silent instead. I only hold on to long and intense eye contact with the policewoman. As she was the one looking away first, I decided that she had lost the game and that it was the right moment for me to leave. I quickly turned around, and without looking back once again, I headed back towards the metro. At the station, a woman sat on the bench, leaning against the glass. She held her face towards the sun, with eyes closed and a very decent smile to it. Her hair was extremely white. Thank you.
You think? Actually, it's quite nice to see from there because I don't have sensory attention at all, but it's something I like it, sort of a presence, and I think it's nice if we repeat it and have a bit better image of this.
Repeat it?
No, if we repeat the thing and sometimes and then.
What do you mean now? Like,
No, I mean this is captured live,
yeah.
so this means that I can immediately, which I won't do.